Hey everybody, let's start talking about the Atari VCS. A couple things I want to talk about. First of all, I'm going to kind of talk about the rumor that the Atari VCS has been canceled. We'll get to that in just a little bit. First of all, Atari 50 has finally made its way to the VCS. It has a list price of $39.99, but it's going to be on sale for $29.99 until I believe the day after Christmas. However, it's large, it's 9 gigabytes. I believe this is the largest game they've ever produced for the VCS, and it has created some problems. Atari has recommended that you have a really good internet connection. The download, I saw a range that it could go anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 hours. That this is such a big download for this system that it typically doesn't handle these sides of games. There have been people complaining about situations going on trying to download it, purchases not being recognized. Some have said they've had no problems, others have had problems. Thankfully, it sounds like Atari is on the case. I've been reading on their Discord, and it sounds like a lot of people have had it resolved, and they have pretty good customer service over there from what I understand. They also took down the server for a while for maintenance. Maybe they're trying to figure out some things to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore, get rid of some of these hiccups. But if you're a VCS fan, the good news is, seems like Atari 50 for the VCS is a hit for VCS owners, that they're having a lot of increased activity and sales. Also, if you're interested, Atari does have their VCS actually on sale for one of the better prices I've seen since like the GameStop clearance. Not as good as that, but $240 for the all-in bundle. It's usually, they say $300. It used to be like $400, or it is in like Best Buy and places like that. I don't know. So $240 for the all-in bundle if you want to buy a VCS. So anyways, is the VCS canceled? Have they stopped manufacturing? Well, a little bit yes and no, kind of. Well, let's get it. Let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about it, because there's some misunderstanding, I think, going on here. First of all, this comes from their half-year 2022-2023 results. This came out of Paris, France on December 16th, so just 4 days ago. So that's why it's making kind of the rounds. And we'll get to the phrase. Now, they do have some struggles. Their revenue is down 27% compared to the previous year. And it says hardware right here. The first half of the year was primarily dedicated to the reorganization of the hardware line of business, which includes the suspension of direct hardware manufacturing relationships. People took that to saying they totally stopped manufacturing. And while manufacturing might not be going on at this very moment, that's not necessarily meaning that the manufacturing is totally stopped. We'll get to that. Notably with regards to the VCS, for which a new commercial strategy has been implemented as of the end of the calendar year 2022, that will continue to 2023. So they're starting a new commercial strategy. So if you were canceling the system, you probably want to be implementing a new commercial strategy. In parallel, Atari is considering developing new hardware complementary to the VCS with partners under licensing contracts. So I don't know what that means. They're not clear on that. Could be new accessories, controllers, hard drives. I don't know. Something to spruce up the good old VCS. And you could kind of see a breakdown of the revenue down here. And you could see hardware down 92%. That's huge. From 2.3 euros, I believe it is million euros, to 0.2. And it says it down here that the hardware revenues composed of VCS and cartridge sales, that they have the XP cartridges that they sell, declined, resulting from underperformance. I'm sure mostly it's the VCS that's causing this, but I mean, licensing was down too, but games actually rose 10%. And I've heard good things about what they've been doing with their games, with the Recharge series and Atari 50. So they have been doing better, it seems, with the games. And later on in the report, it says outlook for the hardware. By the way, I thought this was funny. They're talking about games. They're going to launch new premium games, leveraging their intellectual property, which is good. Atari's collaboration with Fig Publishing, part of Republic. No! Anyone who knows the Amigos, like, stay away from Republic and Fig. But it might work for them. Anyway, hardware. Implementation of a new commercial strategy for the VCS and launching complementary hardware strategy via partnerships under licensing agreements. So they want to kind of spruce up, it sounds like, the VCS. And so this kind of idea that the VCS has been canceled and it's totally dead, it was met head on in the official Discord server by David, or Davpa as he's known there. And he said this: yes, it's not true. There's a lot of conversation about this very subject. To summarize, Atari ended manufacturing with the factory. We are looking for another manufacturing partner. This is not the end of the VCS. This is the end of making it in Factory X and looking for Factory Y to make it in the future. So another way to kind of look at that report is that when they said suspending it, what they said was, you know, this factory, for where we're at right now, it was more cost effective to end this agreement and try to look for another one. And maybe that's because they're not making as many, right? When you drop 92%, maybe you have to find a factory that's better suited for smaller scaling. So currently we have plenty of stock. We're not going to run out soon. The VCS is not dead. We have games coming out. We are planning and prototyping, designing new hardware accessories that will hopefully make it to market for the VCS. The VCS is not dead, and it's being supported. So the idea that the VCS is totally dead and has been canceled, that's kind of not true. That's not true. They're trying to do new things to revitalize it. Will it work? Will they find a new factory that really meets everything they, their, new requirements or whatever, or more affordable? Who knows? They don't, it doesn't sound like they have a factory yet, but they're looking for one. It doesn't mean that the VCS is going to end in 2023, but it could. We don't know. We don't know. It's definitely, when you lose 92% of your hardware sales, that is a big dip. But if they continue to do things like Atari 50 and Atari Mania, and make good steps, and they can make the VCS more affordable, maybe it can, find a second life. I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next time on the next No Swear Gamer video.